Okay, guys, for our information, the session is being recorded just for our reference purpose and for those that didn't join on time so that they can have access to the video. So you are highly welcome to today's Safeoclock Health and Safety Interactive Workshop. My name is Johnson Nwala, and I'll be coordinating the program today. So it's already 12 minutes past 6, so our time is a bit fast spent. So we'll take it up from there. So like you can see on the screen, our topic today is defensive driving and safety management. So just like we do, we'll start with a presentation. So after the presentation, then it will be room for time for discussions and contributions based on your own personal experience. So we urge you to keep it short and simple so that others will have time also to contribute. Okay, so Sir Stephen, you are starting? Or I should go ahead? Okay, let me open my slide, then I'll commence the discussion. The system is slowing down, man. But here we are, no problem. Okay, I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes, we can.
Yes. Okay. All right, so let us start up. So today we are talking about defensive driving. And so just a little disclaimer before we continue. What we are discussing today is not about how to drive, which simply means this is not a driving institute or driving academy. So if you want to learn how to drive, you have to go to driving center. So, but what we are talking about today is way to drive. That is the best way and the safest way to drive. That is what we'll be discussing today. Okay. A little introduction about myself. Nwala Johnson is my name. I'm a chartered health and safety practitioner, currently working in transportation industry. So I have a privilege of having some information that I will be passing on to us today. So let's keep some time before we start the discussions. So in the course of my presentation, I will define some terms. Then I'll talk about the WHO Global Road Safety Report. Mr. David, you raised your hand.
No, sorry about that. I wanted to applaud you when you said that your current place of work, you are into transportation. So for me, it means you definitely will do justice to the topic.
Yes, bro. And that is why it's just a privilege. So we'll talk about the global report from World Health Organizations. Then we come a bit down to our Qatar. We'll talk about the statistics of accidents. Then we'll talk about driving attitudes, distractions, talk about driving elements, and towards the end, we'll look into workplace safety management. So let's get into it. We'll talk about defensive driving. What exactly do you mean? Defensive driving is not just about your ability to control your vehicle safely, but it means the ability to control the space between you, between the vehicle in front of you, the vehicle behind you, the vehicles by your left and by your right. So your ability to maintain a safe distance between all these vehicles makes you a defensive driver. So anybody can move a vehicle, anybody can drive a vehicle, but to drive defensively, you have to have this calculated mind. You need to put into consideration the distance between the driver in front of you, the one coming behind you, and the one at the both side. So defensive driving requires about 5 major parameters. The first one is concentration. For you to be a defensive driver, you need to have a maximum concentration on what you are doing. The second one is observation. To be a defensive driver, you should be able to observe whatever is happening around you. Your left, your right, your ahead of you and behind you. You should be able to observe whatever is happening all around. Then you should have a positive attitude. Positive attitude simply refers to how you respond to issues or environmental aggressions while driving. Then the next one is how you maintain proper space between the vehicle, both the one ahead of you and the one behind you, and the ones on your both sides. Now, to be a defensive driver, it entails making the best driving decisions. People move at any time. People move however they want. But for you to make the best driving decisions makes you a defensive driver. And the next one is for you to understand the consequences of any choice of your actions, any choice of the decisions you take while driving. Then the other one is the ability to reduce stress while driving. There are a lot of things that people engage in while driving that increases their stress level. And this helps to increase the chances of accidents. Then the next one is your ability to recognize hazards while it is still developing. For instance, if you are driving on the way and somebody is overspeeding behind you, so if you are not observant enough, if you are not concentrating, you will not be able to identify that hazard that is coming and take right action or the best decision to prevent any accident occurring. Now, let's look at some statistics, global records, according to World Health Organization. So this is the latest record or the latest report released last year, 2023, about road safety accidents. Now, this record, you can find it under the WHO international website. So it estimates that about 1.19 million road traffic deaths happened in 2021. So if you look at this number, you see that it's a very huge number. So that is why why we in the transportation industry, we are taking this campaign so much at heart, because looking at these statistics, it doesn't look too good. It means that of Qatar, it means that about half the population of Qatar dies on the road every year. And this is very, very alarming. So that is why the campaign is going on to ensure that we do all that we can to reduce the number of fatalities that we experience on the roads. Now, this is categorize them. About 30% involves four-wheel vehicles. 23% of these fatalities involve pedestrians. 21 fatalities involve a 3 to 2 wheeler vehicles. And 6% involve cyclists. Now, an interesting figure that we need to pay attention at is this 3% death involving micro mobility devices, like the scooter, electric scooters. In one of our workshops, we have talked about hazards associated with electric scooters and e-bikes. So we still have that video in our YouTube channel. You can look it up. If you go through that video, Mr. Stephen took his time to get statistics of this developing trend of accidents and deaths involving electric scooters and e-bikes. And we came to a conclusion that the major reason why this accident involving electric scooters is on the increase is because of the lack of regulation surrounding these e-bikes. Because they are still new, they are new technologies still developing. Most countries have not put together a concise regulation to regulate how they are used. So you can see from here, that is why this the number is so is increasing at a very fast rate. Now let's look at Qatar in particular. We have road traffic accident statistics populated monthly by Qatar Planning and Statistics Authority. So this statistics is available online. It's released monthly, but you are not going to see it per year, but you are going to see it monthly. So I was able to get these details and tabulate it in this form. So from our statistics record, we see that we are having a declining number of road accidents from 2016 to 2022. And there are a lot of factors contributing to this. Improvement in the roads, increase in drivers' awareness. So these are all contributing to reduction in the number of road traffic accidents in Qatar. But it still doesn't stop there. Just in 2020, about 120 people die on the in Qatar. Okay, so this, even though that there are a lot are still being done to improve the road traffic conditions in Qatar, but still there are still lots of accidents going on and still lots of deaths being recorded. So as health and safety professionals, we have to do our own part as well. We have to take charge of the situation. We have to take this awareness working locations to let them know that whoever is driving, whoever is on the road should give safety a priority. So what is an attitude while driving? Your attitude simply refers to how you respond to your environment. Whatever is happening around you, how you respond to it. Take action. For instance, somebody oversped and just overtook you by just in a very fast speed. How do you respond to that? Do you increase your speed? Do you chase after him? Or do you start nagging? How do you respond to environmental situations. This refers to your attitude. So as a defensive driver, you should have a positive attitude to overlook certain issues, concentrate on why you're on the wheel, and ensure that you are not a distracted driver. Now that brings us to what is a distracted driver. A distracted driver is someone who pays attention to a second activity while driving. So when you are driving and you pull up your mobile phone, or you pull up your jota, or you pull up anything that will bring in activity as driving, you are then a distracted driver. So for you to be a distracted driver, it takes your eyes off the road. It takes your hands off the road, and it takes your mind off driving. Driving is the major activity for sitting behind the wheel. So when you have removed your mind from that activity, you are automatically a distracted driver, and there are high chances of accident. Now, what are the types of distraction? You have visual distractions. For example, something that is just happening around you and you decide to remove your face, distracted by that. Cognitive distractions, when you have people in the vehicle or your co-worker, a friend, a colleague, and you are so concerned about the discussions instead of concentrating on the driving skills, then you have a cognitive distraction. Now, auditory distractions, instead of maintaining the volume, you decide to increase it to the highest volume and you become distracted. Then biomechanical distraction. This has to do with, most people do this often. Before you pick up your phone, one, your hand is off the wheels. Now, you have to look at your phone. That means your eyes is off the road. Okay, you have to use your hand to operate the phone. That means your memory also, your brain, your calculations have been distracted as well. So biomechanical distraction involves distraction of different sensory organs at the same time. And when this happens, accident is imminent. It takes splits of seconds for something to go wrong. Seatbelt. Using seatbelt gives you about 50 chances of survival, so says the statisticians. So people not wearing seatbelt, especially people sitting at the back, they feel that they are safe. But those people at the back without using seatbelt are mostly at high risk. Because if there is a crash, the people at the back seat, they will turn to tires. They will project from the back seat across the windshield and off their. So seatbelt should be a mandatory requirement for anybody in the vehicle, whether you are in the front seat or the back seat. And in Qatar specifically, from September last year, there is a law of cameras installed at different locations to detect people not using seatbelt and people using mobile phone while driving. So let's look at these 4 major killing habits. These habits that increases chances of accident. The first one is speeding, failure to yield, tailgating, and crossing over the center line. Let's look at them one after the other. Speeding. What is the major reason why people speed? Do people speed because they like to speed? Do they speed because it's fun? Or people speed because they are late for an activity? Because there is an emergency. For instance, you are feeling pressed, you want to rush home. Or people are speeding because the traffic flow is very smooth. Nothing is stopping the flow of the traffic. Now, which of these reasons is more than your life? That is the better question that everyone should answer. So if none of these reasons are more important than your life, then speeding should not be an option. Okay. Then in Qatar, there are lots of different speed limits implemented by the relevant authorities. So going by that speed limit will not kill you. It will keep you safe. Now, let's look at this tabulation. It's a very important information that every driver or someone that is a commuter should be aware of. That speed you are driving to save you much time. Let's take, for instance, from this table, somebody driving at 80 kilometers per hour. It will take 12 minutes to 10 miles. Now, somebody driving at 136 kilometers per hour would take 7 minutes, 3 seconds to get to 10 miles. Calculation, you see that only 4 minutes, 50 seconds is the difference between somebody driving safely at 80 kilometers per hour and somebody who wants to fly at a speed of 136 kilometers per hour. How many minutes difference did he save? Just 4 minutes and 57 seconds. So you see that it's not worth it. The speed that we are just speeding, increasing your speed, it's not worth it, because at the end, it increases the chances of a crash. If you are driving at 80 kilometers per hour, the chances of a crash, now when you have increased to 136 kilometers per hour, the chances of driving has increased to 12 times of that chance. So if we are supposed to, if you have the S is 1, then 12 times 1, that means you have 12 times more chances of a crash because of that increase in speed. So with this chart or with this information, what we need to ask ourselves is it worth it? If you are saving only minutes by increasing almost more than half of 80, then it's not worth it. So it's better we take it gradually, because you are not saving any much time. Take it gradually and you'll get to your destination. Now, the next killing habit is tailgating. What is tailgating? Tailgating simply refers to a situation whereby a driver drives so closely to a vehicle ahead of him. And because you are so close, you will not be able to maintain that safe distance, and you will not be able to take safe action when required. If the vehicle ahead of you gets an information and maybe decides to apply the brake, the you that is tailgating him will not be able to apply the brake safely and remain safe. So tailgating is a very dangerous habit that it happens in this part of the world, but we should be able to keep safe. Now, how do you handle a tailgating situation? The first thing you have to do is keep safe space. The next is you slow down and you allow him to pass. Give him safe access, because you don't know what is his problem. You don't know what is in his mind. You don't even know if his brake is working properly or not. So give him the way. Let him cross. Let him go where he's going to. So that is the best way to handle a tailgater or somebody too close to you. Now, another habit that kills in driving is using drugs and alcohol, driving under the influence of drugs and alcohol. Now, when we talk about drugs, we are in driving, we are also concerned about legal drugs, not just illegal drugs. We're also concerned about prescribed drugs. We're also concerned about over-the-counter drugs. So those medications that are going to influence your driving skills, they are going to influence your decision-making ability. So those medications should not be tolerated while driving, should be avoided. There are some medications that are drowsy. There are some medications that can make you weak, make you feel nausea. So those medications should not be used while driving. So if you're a driver, or maybe you are driving often and you go to a pharmacy or maybe you go to the hospital, you should be able to tell them you are driving so that you should be giving a non-drowsy medications or maybe give on how to use that medication to avoid accident while driving. Now let's look at these 5 golden driving rules. So the first 1 second, first one is 1 second. So this refers to the 1 second you have to wait after the traffic light turns green. Do you know the reason? The reason is that there are people who have made up their minds to beat the red light. So you need to give them at least 1 second after the green turn to enable these people who are raging drivers who are still on a very high speed trying to beat the red light for them to cross safely so that you will not get involved in a crash with them. The next one comes. You have to keep 3 seconds distance between your vehicle and the vehicle ahead of you. So how do you measure these 3 seconds? How do you know if you are keeping a proper 3 seconds while driving? So you just, vehicle ahead of you, just cross a particular point, a particular object that you want to measure your counting. So immediately he has crossed it, so you start counting. Start counting 1001, 1002, 1003. That will give you exactly get to that point also. So that measure if you are keeping a safe distance between yourself and the driver ahead of you. So the other one is give 6 seconds distance in a bad weather situation. When the weather condition is bad, you have to increase the distance you leave ahead of the driver. So you have to increase that distance when the weather condition gets. Now, the next 6 seconds is you have to keep your indicator at least 6 seconds before you take a turn, before you change lane, or before you do anything. The reason is you are communicating to the driver ahead of you or the one behind you. So if you don't give him adequate time to notice your indicator, then you stand a chance of getting into. The 6 seconds you give is for the driver to recognize that you want to take a turn or that you want to change a lane. Then before you take the action, not immediately you put on your indicator, you change a lane. No, you have to give some time for this driver to get adjusted and to recognize what you are trying to do. Now, the next 12 seconds is to maintain this distance between heavy vehicles or lorries, trailers, all these big vehicles driving ahead of you. You need to give them a minimum of 12 seconds distance. Even emergency vehicles, they need this distance as well. Now let's look at workplace traffic management. Why is it important to manage workplace traffic, the safety in traffic in your workplace? Why is it important? The first one is it's going to reduce the cost related to accidents. Because if it's not properly managed, of course, we know the financial implication is that there's going to be accidents, maybe people will get injured, there's going to be fatality, and there are lots of costs associated with an accident. So in order to prevent that, we have to manage workplace traffic safety. The next one is legal compliance. Whatever the law of that region or that jurisdiction have said about traffic management, for you to implement it, then you are in compliance with the law. Then the other reason is economic impacts. There's going to be legal liabilities. You can have a decrease in productions if an accident happens due to poor management of workplace traffic safety. Then the reputation of the organization will be at stake due to incessant accidents due to increase in absenteeism, staff turnover because of accidents. So we need to manage our workplace traffic properly to prevent all this happening. There are frameworks that mandates employers to ensure that they provide proper management of workplace traffic. So the first one is OSHA standards. OSHA standard has this requirement that the employer should ensure that the workplace or the traffic management is properly managed, whereby the pedestrian has no contact with vehicle movement. Also, local traffic in Qatar, QCS has something related to work zone traffic management. Now, temporary traffic management, TTM, also is in line with requirement that there should be right way, there should be advanced warning, there should be temporary traffic signs, there should be transition area, and there should be a walk zone or pedestrian area. So these are part of the local legal requirements, which every one of us should be aware of, especially those working ASHA contracts or those who are involved in working on the road. So we should get familiar with these legal requirements. Now, so how do you manage properly workplace traffic? The first one is to identify the traffic hazards. You should be able to identify where these hazards are existing. What are they exist? The blind spots, congested areas, places where there is a limited visibility, where there is low light. We should identify the hazard areas. Then we should conduct a proper risk assessment, identifying proper control measures that can help to mitigate the risk associated with this. And then implementing these control measures as well. Not just identifying them, but implementing the control measures. So to ensure proper and effective control of traffic in the workplace, the first control measure that we should of the traffic management plan. The traffic management plan will determine or will be able to stipulate how there will be movement in the workplace, the locations for the pedestrians, locations for the direction for the vehicles, and all that, this type of signages, the type of traffic flows that should be there, they will all be contained in the traffic management plan. Then the other control is safety training. The emphasize because people need to be aware of the hazards. The drivers, they need to be aware. The pedestrians, the workers, they need to be aware of the hazards that are identified in that area. They should know where the vehicles could be overspeeding. So training is really, really important to ensure that everyone follows safe driving and safe traffic movement in the workplace. Then barriers and signages. Signages will help to tell the drivers when he's overspeeding, the speed limit in the workplace. So signages, barriers are all important control measures required to ensure that the traffic management is safe. Now, how do you monitor the effectiveness of your traffic safety in your workplace? The first one is proper inspection and audit. As health and safety professionals, it's our job to inspect the workplace regularly, conduct audits at intervals, analyze incident reports, because a near miss that has been properly investigated and controlled will prevent an accident from occurring. So we should analyze the near misses, have our records, lesson learned in place, and let everybody understand what went through and what should be done to prevent a reoccurrence, then the control measures should be updated. It's not supposed to be static. As the workplace develops, as there are changes in the work environment, the traffic management plan should be changing. The control measures also should be changing. It should be kept dynamic so that as the workplace is evolving, the control measures should also be evolved. And this comes to do with regular inspections, audits, because only when you inspect the sites that you find out the changes and you have to improve and modify your control measures as well. So there are lots to talk about traffic management, but this is a discussion team. So I'll just leave my presentation here and open the floor for others to contribute, ask questions where required, and give our own opinion. All right, the floor is open now for everyone. So the floor is open for contribution and for questions as well.
Yeah,
Mr. Imran?
Yeah, if I refer to slide 6. Slide 6, it says that the number of accidents that happen and the number of deaths that took place. So in the death area, the data for 2020 shows that there were 120 deaths. However, I've seen that the rate of accidents drastically came down in 2022. So do you have the data of 21 and 22 for the deaths in Qatar? Just to understand whether it is in line with the number of accidents or it's not in line, just to understand.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you. The records for 2021 up to 2023 is not yet available.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not yet available in the PSA website. So the records we have is up to 2020.
Yeah, I just another that 2022 we saw the accident rate was much lower, from 4,400 to 838.
Yes.
Is it because there was stringent rules because of the FIFA?
Yes.
Is that contributing?
We did some analysis on that, and one of the factors contributed to that was the FIFA World Cup, where most people use more of public transportation. So there was a reduction in personal vehicle use, and that contributed to that decrease in the number of accidents.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. It answered my query. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, Mr. David, you were raising your hand before.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, I would like to ask a question in respect of this response. I joined late anyway, because I was engaged in following up on some issues of some of our Nigerian guys we are trying to help. Okay, I want to say, if the reason why the road traffic incident increase as at 2022, right?
From light on screen, right?
Yes. Then do you mean that there were no road there were no road control measures in place, like the road traffic regulation system to mitigate road incidents and how people respect the road. How do we call it? To avoid high increase, like here in Saudi, I know we have a stringent, serious road traffic control system. So even as people uses more of car as at that period of time, it means the control was weak. So it could not be that because more persons were using road, and that could have been the reason why there was an increase in incident.
No,
I think there is more
from our
to that.
statistics, there is actually a decrease.
Yeah.
From our statistics, there is a decrease in road traffic accident. So it was high in 2016, then it reduced.
Yeah. Exactly, 2016, yes.
Incidents. So that boils down to we are having an improved driver's awareness, and there is an improvement in the road network as well, and traffic management understanding. People are beginning to comply more than before. So it's just more of engineering controls that are in place, not majorly the people's reactions. So you see the cameras, there are now cameras almost everywhere. So these are the engineering controls that I think that has contributed to reduction in this. So people are now more conscious. Like now that we have cameras monitoring use of mobile phones and seat belts, you see people are also not using mobile phone. Then when you are not using mobile phone, you see you pay more attention to driving, and that leads to less accident.
Yes. Okay, no problem there. Yeah. I got it.
Yeah, Mr. David. David, you were raising your hand before.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah,
I am still here. I just wanted to ask a question. In a scenario whereby the affairs of the driving and logistics is being handled by another department, how do we intervene to create this kind of awareness? Because in some scenario, the drivers are employed, the selection process and the interview process is being carried out by the logistic department. And there is no special awareness, only they focus and prioritize on their experience, how many years experience they have been driving and all other sorts of that. And I believe that when people say they have 20 years experience, that is when complacency sets in and they begin to drive recklessly on the road because they believe they know where all the cameras are, they know all the road network. So in this scenario, whereby the logistic department handles these affairs, how do the safety departments come in to intervene in this kind of situation? Thank you.
Okay, so in that situation, it has to do with the organizational structure. So if the transportation safety or transportation department is attached to the logistics, so it makes it difficult for safety to track what is going on. Even road traffic accidents, sometimes they will not get you involved. You'll not even be aware of what is going on. So it leads to organizational structure, and it should be corrected from the top. It's not something that safety or safety officer will correct from the bottom. The management should prepare or maybe make it in such a way that there will be proper coordination, proper communication between both teams, that whatever related to accidents or whatever is related to safety should be communicated to the safety department. So for me, I think it's what the high management need to discuss about. It's not something that safety will start chasing them from the ground to know what is going on. So if that organizational structure is not adjusted and maybe the safety department or the safety manager giving access to those details and the opportunity to contribute, then it's very difficult to get hold of. So for me, I think it should start from the top management. So the discussion should go to the top management and let there be a readjustment of the structure and reporting situation so that safety will be aware of what is going on and be able to contribute to prevent further incidents. Any other person that has an answer to contribute can also go ahead.
All right. Yeah, can I come in just to add maybe 1 or 2 points to what you already communicated? Actually, the scenario that Mr. David painted is exactly what we are currently experiencing in my place of work, right? The transportation unit is not under the HSC control. Rather, it's directly with the logistics department. So, and my senior manager recently called all of us to brainstorm, and he popped up similar question by asking us, how can we be able to integrate with the transportation unit and ensure that we put some stringent controls in place in order to mitigate, over speeding while they are driving, because there were complaints actually coming in that during the close of work, when these guys are driving, plying the road, there is speed, there is speed. The drivers are driving recklessly, and drivers are driving recklessly. So sorry for that. Sorry for that. My son is trying to distract me, following me up and down. So sorry about that. So what the suggestion some of us gave was that we now propose to him, to propose to the management, if it's possible for them to provide an vehicle monitoring system, which is an IVMS. That way they can be able to track the movement of the drivers and measure their performance, their behavior, their attitude while driving. The second suggestion we gave is that if we can be able to improve the awareness, and the way we can improve that awareness is to ensure that the drivers in the morning must conduct two-bus talk, have their two-bus talk or conduct two-bus meeting to discuss about the hazard, just like the presenter did mention during the presentation. To identify all the potential hazard associated with their movements, with their journey, the roads they are flying. And also, we propose that administrative controls, should also be put in place, like posting those safety warnings, even in the vehicle, the mandatory use of the seat belts, no smoking, no overspeeding, and as safety, for us to also implement a policy of if a driver is speeding, they are fully aware that the passengers in the staff bus could report, they could raise a report against them if anyone is found speeding. So we just put all these stringent control in place. And currently, the security departments, right, are also acting as the traffic marshals. So they have the speed gun, which they also use to track this driver from distance. You know, they just use the radar to measure their speed to see if they are exceeding the speed, speed. Then we also propose for the signages, you know, the road warning and warning signs and control signages that were also provided for them to be installed at strategic and prominent places on the road they were applying and also on the construction sites as well. Just like the presenter also did mention, the traffic management plan, we also review that and make sure that, as he has explained, all the necessary information that should be there in terms of navigating the speed limit at each particular branching point, even on the third road, off the road, you know, the main road on the site, and the relevant signages that should be at maybe T-junctions, the roundabouts, all of that. We reviewed everything, the detour, and make sure of that. We also put a control in case there is a roadblock, right? You must seek permission to create a diversion, road diversion. So there are basic safety requirements that must be in place. So if you are blocking the road, you need to create a diversion for others, you know, to apply. And permission must be seek, you know, before the roads can be blocked. And we issue what we call a notice of road closure. So no roads can be closed without that notice of road closure. You must have it. And you must also implement, you know, the barricades, put the barricades in place, the directional signs, and have like a merchant traffic controller who will also help to control the movements of the vehicles. Then for all the vehicles, when they are parking, we recommended they should have a choke, like a wedge you must put to prevent their vehicles from rolling as well. But the bottom line was, in order to control this and for safety to get involved, because just like Mr. Johnson said, it's very difficult. It's a top management issue, you know, to be resolved. But the only way we saw we can integrate ourselves, you know, have that little leverage, was to compel them to henceforth be conducting towards stock. Their movement will be monitored. If anybody feel uncomfortable that the driver is exceeding the required speed, they can fill the safety observation form. They can raise the complaint and the proposal for the IVMS, although nothing has been done about that till now, but that one, you know, we suggested that. And that's it basically from my side. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
I think before we go, David, I would like to comment on this area. In Indonesia, if there are overspeeding or from your project route, it means first and foremost, the government does not have a good road traffic system in place. So this has result to road violation from your company staff's vehicle along the road that result to maybe some incident or that. I want to reflect that to what I am seeing here in Saudi. And first and foremost, I will say Saudi government, I don't know if there will be another Middle East that will be doing more better than them when it comes to road traffic management system. With what I'm seeing here, since I am here, I think I'm going to 6 months now, I've not seen any major road incident. One. Then secondly, my company, we have subcontractors that have a lot of bosses that brought in staffs from outside. One, if you overspeed, there is the cameras on the road. Once you go beyond the approved speed limit, we have different routes. We have for heavy vehicles, we have for light cars, and I think we have about 70 to 80 kilometers. Once you go above that, first and foremost, all the road you have cameras. No vehicle has IVMS. Immediately, one, if you violate not using seatbelt, the camera will pick you. The camera will pick immediately the vehicle, including the driver, and automatically it generates a mail. I don't know how they got this done. It will generate a mail straight to the registered vehicle inspectorate, where a mail will be sent to the company who registered this vehicle. A fine will be charged for that violation, for overspeeding, for not using seatbelt. In fact, this is how it has. That's why if I said I never see road incident one. And all those who are using company official vehicles, the moment they gave it to you, they will just let you know that these are the rules of the road. Once you overspeed, they are going to receive a mail, and whatever charges, you will be the one to pay. Even my manager, who is the safety manager in my yard, has paid twice when he used a vehicle of the company. And that result to, in fact, he returned the vehicle because he said one was malfunctioning. He told me, Francis, that day, I don't know, it was like the vehicle malfunctioned. But imagine they just charged me 500 riyal. So imagine if you pay 500 riyal twice from your salary. Nobody will tell you to control yourself. So if there are no system in some countries, I think it also amount to this violation. And like here, all the logistics are under security and HR. So there is nothing we don't. Our involvement is just we do, I think, twice campaign on road defensive driving with them, and that is only what we do. But we don't have anything we do, because if he wants to go beyond that, security will tell you keep off. So everybody is trying to mind his business. So I think that's how we do. We manage our own defensive driving, and except on our yard where we have our normal traffic management system with the normal rules and 20 kilometers. That is what you can, the highest you can ride on the yard, and other road traffic signage and controls that are in place. So I think for my side, this is how we manage effective road traffic management system and defensive driving in our yard that has really helped to the best of my knowledge.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Stephen and Mr. David, for those wonderful contributions. Mr.
Sorry.
Peter, yeah.
Sorry, everything that Francis has explained is still the same with Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Same implementation, same system. So they take their public safety very, very serious. So I think it's exactly the same regulations there in managing their public transport and all of that. So for Francis, the same system is right there in Dubai and Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, a good one.
Yeah, same management system we have here as well. We have mobile cameras almost everywhere, so everybody minds his speed. Mr. Peter, you are raising your hand, and you will have more time, just 3 minutes.
Okay, sorry, I'm coming in late to this program, even though I'm enjoying it, and I was just going to ask because I'm a HSC student. I don't know much about it. I'm just coming into this profession. I've been a journalist for about 2 decades, and I'm trying to veer off from there and to come into safety. So I was going to ask Mr. David, because I heard a lot of things that he was saying, and you know, while I was in class the other time, my teacher would tell me that, told me that whenever anything whenever we're seeing any hazard, the first thing we should always think of is elimination. And if there's no way to eliminate, then we can think of substitution. So I was going to ask him that, is there no elimination in the process that he was talking about all the time? But the last person that spoke was trying to talk about how to eliminate such hazard on the road. So I think I'm beginning to get a little bit of what they are saying now. And I really enjoy this program. Please, I want to beg that you should always have it regularly so that one can always learn from it. I'm learning, and I thank everybody that have spoken this night, including yourself. I enjoyed it, and I'm appreciating it too. Thank you.
That is a good one.
Mr. David, you heard his question, or I should go ahead and answer him? Okay, so in response to your question, Mr. Peter, see, there is some point that elimination will not come in. So in that situation, if you want to eliminate the hazard, then the elimination should be nobody should drive. They should use public vehicle and come to work. So that is the elimination. But in such situation, maybe the elimination control will not work. It's so we go for other control measures that from substitution to engineering to administrative controls, PPE and others. So in situations where elimination is not possible, you go into other controls. So elimination will not be possible in every type of hazard control.
Okay, thank you.
Our time is fast spent, so I'm also grateful for a lot of people that are still here. So we still have, even though that the time is fast spent, but a lot of people are still here. So we have our past workshops recorded and saved in our YouTube channel. So if you want to go through them, like that electric scooters, I would like to refer you to go and take time to watch it. Before we come back to it again, to take time before we can do that topic again. So you can take time and watch from our YouTube channel. You will see all those. Safeoclock News is the name of the YouTube channel. So you will see all our previous videos. So then if you want CPD certificate, just remember to send me a message directly in the on a direct Safeoclock WhatsApp group so that I will prepare your CPD certificate. I'm trying to get this WhatsApp number. Okay, the WhatsApp number is 770345886. So and just send me direct message, and that is our Safeoclock WhatsApp number. All right, guys, it's been a nice time. Next week, Thursday by 6 p.m. Let's keep to time also. So
Okay. Bye.
have a lovely day.
Yeah.
Okay.